Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a practice owner, you already know that keeping your appointment book full is literally the lifeblood of your business, right? But what actually happens when patients just quietly slip out the back door? Today, we're opening up a completely essential, high-stakes playbook designed specifically for you to stop losing those patients. We're going to answer the absolute most critical question for your practice's growth. How can I improve my practice's patient recall rate? We'll break down the exact step-by-step strategies you need to plug the leaks in your schedule and keep your patients coming back for good. Now, I want to hit you right between the eyes with a massive number: $120,000. That's what you could be losing every single year. The data shows that a mere 5% drop in your patient recall rate can leak anywhere from $60,000 to a whopping $120,000 annually straight out of your practice. And a 5% drop, it might feel totally invisible day to day. A missed appointment here, an unreturned phone call there, but it compounds into a huge hit to your financial stability. So we've got to fix that. Okay, so here's our step-by-step playbook to plug those revenue leaks. First, the cost of lost patients. Second, automating for seamless scheduling. Third, closing the convenience gap. Fourth, building trust and loyalty. And finally, measuring your success. Let's dive right into phase one, the cost of lost patients, or as I like to call it, plugging the leaky bucket. The blueprint we're looking at highlights this really crucial concept called Rule 7. Basically, Rule 7 is a fundamental principle emphasizing that your bottom line depends heavily on retention. Why is that? Well, because retaining an existing patient is anywhere from 5 to 25 times cheaper than acquiring a brand new one. Seriously, up to 25 times. Just think about the marketing dollars, the time, the sheer effort it takes to get a new patient into the chair versus just keeping the one you already have happy. Making the patient experience a high ROI focus isn't just a nice to have, It's honestly the most financially sound decision you can possibly make for your practice. Moving on to Section 2, Automate for seamless scheduling, which is all about removing administrative friction. So, one of the most direct, impactful ways to improve your recall rate is simply to automate patient reminders and all that associated paperwork. Think about it. Every manual step a patient, or your front desk for that matter, has to take is a point of friction. I'm talking about those endless, soul-crushing rounds of phone tag. Automation directly removes that friction. It ensures that patients who've already scheduled their follow-ups actually walk through your front doors. By minimizing no-shows through these automated nudges, you protect that future revenue. And you do it without piling more work onto your staff's plates. It's a total win-win. That brings us to Section 3, close the convenience gap and what modern patients actually expect. Now, what's really interesting here is this absolutely shocking disparity in the industry right now. Get this, a massive 77% of patients actively prefer providers who offer online scheduling, but only 26% of practices actually provide it. That gap, that's a massive competitive advantage just waiting for you to claim it. If you're in that 26%, you are winning. If you aren't, well, you're essentially creating an artificial barrier for 3/4 of your potential returning patients. Look, convenience is a major, major retention factor. As the blueprint advises, making it significantly easier for patients to schedule their next recall appointment at their own convenience completely eliminates a huge barrier to their return. Picture this. A patient remembers at, 9 p.m. on a Tuesday that they need a cleaning. If they have to wait until your office opens at 8 a.m. on Wednesday to call, life might get in the way and they completely forget. Letting them book on their own time secures that appointment instantly. No friction, no lost revenue. All right, Section 4, build trust and loyalty. We're talking about connecting beyond the dental chair. At the end of the day, patients choose, and more importantly, stay with dentists based on reputation and recommendations. Improving customer satisfaction absolutely has to be a top priority. Why? Because a genuinely satisfied patient forms the rock-solid foundation of a loyal practice. When a patient is happy, they aren't just coming back, they're becoming walking, talking advocates for your business. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly where those relationships are being built online. A massive 84% of patients go online for their dental research. 84%? This opens up a huge window of opportunity for your practice. They're out there right now, looking for answers, looking for expertise, and looking for a provider they can trust before they ever even sit in the chair. So, how exactly do we capitalize on that 84%? Well, here are the actionable takeaways. You need to leverage your social media platforms to share really valuable educational content. Providing this kind of information helps build a continuous connection and ultimately trust with your patients. You're no longer just a biannual appointment to them, you're staying top of mind between those 6-month visits. When you're the one answering their questions online, you are definitely the one they'll trust when it's time to return for their regular checkups. Finally, Section 5. Measure your practice's success. Time to look at the scoreboard. You can implement all of these strategies, but if you aren't tracking the data, you're basically flying blind. So the crucial point here is that to successfully gauge your efforts, you should be aiming for a healthy target recall rate of exactly 55 to 65%. That's the sweet spot you need to hit to ensure the financial stability we talked about at the very beginning of this explainer. If you're sitting comfortably in this range, great, your retention strategies are humming along beautifully. But we've also got to watch out for the danger zone. 17%. That is the industry average attrition rate. If you measure your numbers and find your attrition is creeping higher than 17%, consider this a giant warning siren. It strongly indicates that your patient experience or your reminder systems need some immediate refining. You're losing patients faster than the industry average, and honestly, that's a direct threat to your bottom line. We've covered a lot today. The staggering cost of lost patients, the sheer power of automation, the necessity of online booking, and the immense value of building trust online. But honestly, none of this matters if you don't know where you stand right now. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative challenge. Do you actually know your practice's true recall rate? If you don't, your very next step today should be to open up your practice management software and find out. The health of your entire practice depends on it.